Well, welcome back to another week of seeing what I got up to and what I made. This week I got around to doing some sewing, so there's a couple new projects to show you. And I also did some baking, which was fun. I don't have anything left to show you because we ate it all. But I made some yummy muffins I love adding extra nuts and dried fruit and always chocolate chips, and so those were tasty and devoured quickly. But this week my goal, I had a list of practical items that my kids need that I was going to sew, and top of the list was pants, because my girls have been growing taller and taller and their pants are getting shorter and shorter. So I was able to get fabric cut out for a couple pairs of pants, and I was going to make some shirts too, so I had the fabric all cut out for that. And then I had a nice empty evening where I had free time after the kids went to bed, and I sat down at the sewing machine and somehow, instead of pants, a dress was sewn. So I got distracted and saw this pile of fabric that was waiting to be turned into another orange dress so that my girls can match in their orange dresses. And so instead of doing something practical like sewing clothes they need, they ended up with yet another dress. It ended up being a complete spur of the moment dress. I had no plans as I sewed it. I just kind of took what I had laying around and winged it. So I had the pattern I used was the Jaylee 3245 raglan top, which is the same pattern I used to make the tank tops, the dark blue one I'm wearing now, and there's a little white one with bell painted on it that I'd made for the girls. And so I used, since I had it already cut out and out, I used the top and I hacked it a little bit to add these seam lines down the front. Part of that reason was because the fabric I used for this was a extra large men's polo shirt that I got at the thrift store, and so I had a limited amount of fabric and limited just the shape of it, because it's a polo shirt with a button placket down the front. It means you don't have as many large pieces of fabric to cut a full bodice out of. So by changing it up a little bit and cutting the bodice into smaller pieces, I was able to piece those out of the kind of shoulder area of the shirt. And then the sleeves I turned into gathered puff sleeves with an elastic casing at the bottom, and added a waistband at the belt with a gathered elastic back, which ends up looking a little bit funky because, as I said, fabric was at a premium, and this is one of those spots where, because I wasn't planning, I got to this part and realized I don't have enough fabric to do the back and also still have a long enough skirt, or at least a skirt that to the length that I was hoping. And so I used the collar of the polo shirt for the back, which is a lot stiffer than the rest of the fabric, and so it gives it a very odd look in the back. There's elastic underneath it causing the bunching, which keeps it close in to my daughter's body, but because the collar is a very stiff fabric compared to the nice draping used everywhere else, it just looks kind of goofy. Fortunately, the front looks fine. One of the fun things about using a t-shirt is you don't have to hem the bottom, which isn't hard, but for some reason I just don't like hemming. But basically I just used the existing shirt hem, chopped off the bottom and used it as the skirt, add some gathering to the top, and voila. The neckline I did have to adjust because this fabric has very little stretch and the pattern calls for a fabric with stretch. So I ended up cutting in a oblong shape in the back and then adding an elastic loop with a gold button that I already had on hand. And it's already been tried and tested by my daughters. It meets their approval and has been worn many, many times. And always the other matching orange dress is worn by the other daughter. And then the day after I made that, I did finally get in some practical sewing and I made a pair of pants because it was quicker to sew these up than to put the rest of their pants in the wash. Which is really, the first time I made this pattern, it has been about a year. And I felt so accomplished making a pair of pants that looks like a pair of pants and fit the girls. I think the first pair of pants I made, it probably only took me about an hour. And now it takes me 20 to 30 minutes to make them. And it's such a quick project. It doesn't feel as much like a creative endeavor because you kind of sew it up and you're done. There's not really many changes that I do to the pants pattern like I do with shirt or dress patterns, where I kind of just do my own thing and add different stylistic changes. The pants are usually just really basic. It's a couple seams, add on the cuffs, put in the elastic, and poof, you're done. But the girls have requested a second pair of orange pants. You may have noticed a trend of orange. They love the color orange. So anytime I ask them what color they want something to be, it's always orange. So other things I did this week, got my son's 11-month photos done a little bit late. I realized last weekend that his month day had already come and gone, and oh no, I gotta get those done. So I did a quick photo shoot, and the girls wanted to be involved too, so I got very little photos of him by himself, but I got some nice shots of all three of them playing together. I have to confess I am excited that next month, he'll be 1 year, which means that's the last of my monthly photo shoots for him. So I'm also excited he'll be a year. But with the girls, I committed to doing a photo shoot once a month for their monthly kind of growth update. And with them also, by the time I reached a year, I was like, nope, I'm done. I like taking pictures of them, but it always ends up being, for some reason, that week always ends up being busy, and for some reason gets stressful. But we had fun with that. And so this next week, my goal is to start on the quilt. I need to hurry up and start it because the longer I wait, the less likely, or I guess the more worried I'm going to be about the outcome and whether or not I can actually do this. So if I start sooner, then I have less time for my nerves to kind of get all wound up and wondering if I'm just going to completely ruin the project. What I need to do is just go back, read the instructions, start cutting out the fabric and sewing it together. And once I get started and see how the process comes together, that'll give me more confidence to keep going and just get me more excited about it once I start to see progress. So that's my goal. Next week I hope I can show you some of the beginning pieces of the fabric being pieced together, and it'll be fun to see how the colors work together. I hope they work together. I am color matching and coordinating is not my strong suit, so we'll see how the quilt looks at the end. I'm hoping it's not too busy and too crazy with all the pinks and blues and oranges, but we'll find out, and we'll find out even sooner if I can make myself be disciplined enough to sit down and get started on that rather than jumping to all these other random projects and little fits of inspiration where I choose to sew a dress instead of what was actually on my plan. So there we go. I hope you have been able to find time to rest or to create and make things that you love, or make things for people that you do love. Let me know what you have been making or what you've enjoyed seeing other people make. I hope you have a wonderful week.